Welcome CNG 132 to week 2. Let's see, there's 21 more discussion posts I will look at. I'll actually start grading your Dropbox submissions today. Let's talk about, I got a few emails about DreamSpark. Remember to copy and paste the links. I believe there's some metadata within those links that try to redirect you to my email. The best way to avoid that is just copy the link and then paste it into a browser window, and it should take you directly to the link instead of trying to take you to Outlook Web Access, which is an online internet login to Outlook. The discussions looked great so far as I was reading through them. No real concerning issues that I've seen arise. And what you see, multiple responses to different cases is usually how it goes. Like I said, there are many different topics, but even though you might choose the same one, it's a totally different context. This week we cover, I believe it's social engineering and malware attacks. Malware and social engineering, okay. Basically, we get an introduction to what type of attacks there are and how to classify them, is what the meat of chapter 2 is. Let's see. I don't think there's anything that's hugely difficult with this chapter. Once again, it's still just a very light chapter, introduction chapter. If you are still having issues, make sure to reach out to myself or Barry. Let us know what you're having so you can we can hopefully troubleshoot that with you. Follow along with the reading. The discussion and the assignments for this week would include, let's see, a lab simulation, which I believe you did last week. Yeah, lab simulations. And then this week we go ahead and jump into a lab also. The lab itself is more time consuming than the simulations. They do require you to sit down for at least 45 minutes, and I would say 45 minutes. It's not going to be max 45 minutes every time, but I'd at least allow yourself that cushion of taking 45 minutes to do one. When you complete a lab, make sure to log out. Those are the ones that it's best if you log out instead of closing any windows. That'll help your grade transition over to D2L. And with those grades, make sure you are also double checking through MindTap your grades, and make sure they're transitioning over to D2L. We have just a few projects to do this week. This one doesn't say submit in the Dropbox. I'll probably change that real quick. So make sure you submit this week's project into Project 2 Dropbox. If there are typos, feel free to let me know. I do download them and change them. This semester, the material is entirely new, so there's probably errors that I do see. But if you're confused on something, once again, feel free to reach out. I am rather quick to get back to you guys since I'm online. Since my online presence pretty large. Let's see. I think that's the really only big thing for this week is the new introduction to the labs. So remember, if you're having any issues with the lab, once again, plan 45 minutes, take your time, read the instructions very thoroughly. Make sure to, I believe, turn on the virtual machines. If it were me, I would power everything on, and in the event that I don't use it, it was still powered on. I believe that's one of the biggest issues. And maybe it opens. Hopefully it opens. What else we talk about? If you do get stuck on any sort of lab project, lab simulations, make sure you email myself, take a picture of it, and be like, hey, look, I was having this problem. Couldn't complete the lab, even though you might start it at Just the event in case you do start out Sunday 9 p.m. And only give yourself a couple hours to do it. I can see that there is a issue, although I'm not going to be awake. I can see that there was an issue, and maybe have some leniency on what you turn in. Once again, it looks like PL Practice Lab, PL Lab, Domain Controller 01 is already powered on and starting to boot up. Go ahead and power on DM. Power on, and power on. So as you see here, we're powering on every component that we have so far. If we use it, we use it. If it's simply just part of the lab itself to run and we don't log into it, at least it was on and accessible for the other computers to talk to. Sometimes the labs will not work if you do not power something on. Did run into that issue a few times in the past semester, so make sure you are just powering everything on. Let's see, we have a domain controller, member server, a host, or I should say not a host, a client computer and client computer, and then Kali Linux. And once again, the logout is down here at the very bottom of the window. This button here. When you do complete the lab and get to the end, make sure to select the log out of lab platform, and that'll close you out. I believe that's it for week 2. Have fun reading, have fun with the discussions. This class is a huge learning experience and introduction to many other aspects of network security. And we kind of see where the attacks can come from this week. If you have any questions, let me know. Any issues with the lab, post the discussion lab comments, and that's it. Have a good week, and I will check in. I'll start grading stuff today and then also do a check-in later this week.